we've been talking, Bill, a lot about identity, right? And I know the last few calls you've been kind of missing. So this is going to be a really, really good one to just whoosh, jump right to the top, okay? And with you being the hot seat, this is going to be a lot of fun. So the last few calls, I give you the recap. It was figuring out who is that person that you're trying to become and really trying to map out their strong why, right? Their goals and what it really means to them. But also, it's like, who is that person? How do they think? How do they act? How do we start embodying that person today? Okay. Now, I want to ask you a question. Okay. We're talking all about confidence, but is confidence, right, in terms of like who you're trying to become, is that one of the emotions or one of the character traits that may be the best version of yourself? If you can think about like the best version of yourself ever, would you say that they're more confident?
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah. Perfect. Now, all right, next question for you before we go to ChatGPT. What makes them more confident? Is it a look? Is it a feel? Is it something that they just do? Like, what do you think makes them more confident? And if you need help, I can always talk about myself if you want me to.
No, I mean, I think you gain confidence from experiences and from accomplishments, right?
Mhm.
Um, I'm sure there are other definitions for it, but success breeds confidence.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the more success you have, the more confident you are, at least internally, to me.
Yeah. I love that. Right. And like when it comes to that, also, like a side note is like perseverance. Right? Like I think about like Rocky Balboa, get his butt kicked, right? But like he's confident in himself that he knows he can prevail and overcome, right, any of those fights, any of those challenges. So like to me personally, yes, right? Confidence is a lot about success, but also it's about perseverance, building upon that. But you typically gain that confidence from not only the successes, but also from the challenging storms in life because then you can look back and say, I overcame that. I can overcome this, right? It can help you out with confidence. Now, let me ask you this, okay? What are some ways to build upon confidence? I know you talked about like, amplifying your success and achievements and all that stuff, but like tangible things. Like, what are some ways to build upon confidence before we go to ChatGPT and start asking some crazy questions?
Um, well, I don't know the answer to that. I think it's internal to each one of us, and I think I'm going back to successes, right? If I've had something that I had to overcome and I was able to overcome it, that's my success. So I tend to feel more confident in things that are that I know I can do and I can accomplish.
Okay. No, I like that. So now let's just go right into that now, right? You talked about overcoming these things, okay? Now put that in perspective of like your health and fitness goals. You just started using the ab roller, right? You sent me over a message like, Joe, I just banged out like 30 of these, right? Like this is easy. And then you sent me over that video, right? I'm like, hey man, try to get a little bit farther out. Like, do you think like amplifying that? Maybe it's 50 ab rollers in a row, or maybe it's just maybe 10, but you're getting all the way out. Do you think like maybe the first time you're doing it, it's probably not going to be as easy. But
Oh,
then maybe,
absolutely.
but then the more and more you try, the easier it gets. Do you think overcoming that, right, crossing the bridge, that's going to help you just be more confident because you're
Sure,
overcoming those challenges?
sure.
Hey, my name is Bill, 60 years old, 190 pounds, 25% body fat. My goal is to not let diabetes kill me like it killed my mother. My goal, I put that in there wrong. My goal is 75 pounds and a 20% body fat. I heard that having confidence is a great tool to being successful on my health and fitness journey when it comes to reaching my goals. Can you share with me some ways on how to build more confidence to help me stay on track and overcome challenges when it comes to reaching my fitness goals? Bill, first off, I want to say that you have already taken a powerful step by setting clear goals, recognize the importance of the confidence journey. Confidence isn't something you're born with, it's something that's built through action, discipline, and small wins along the way. Bill, you kind of talked about that, right? Building upon these wins, these successes. It says here are some ways to develop more confidence to help you stay on track, overcome challenges. Keep promises to yourself. Man, actually, hold on. Before we even get right into this, we got to pause this. Keep promise to yourself. I want everybody to be honest because you're only going to hurt yourself. What does keeping promises do you mean? What character trait is that? Does anybody know? Mike?
Integrity.
Integrity. I'm gonna just ask you guys, right? Show of hands, okay? Who here is actually keeping promises to their self when it comes to following along with the plan? Meaning, like, hey, you're hitting your macros, right? If you're overeating, you're practicing integrity, you're tracking that. If you're missing on the Spartans, hey, you're not putting in 300. If you're going for a workout or whatever the case may be, or doing an ab circuit, like you're actually doing it to the best of your abilities. Just show of hands. Who here are keeping those promises to themselves? 3, 4. Okay, but Chris, let that sink in, guys. Okay, let that sink in. Like, this is the number one thing to not only helping you be successful at reaching your health and fitness goals, but also building more confidence, right? Being more confidence just is making a promise to yourself. And if you think about it, right, like, just let that sink in. I'm going to do this. You're not just saying it, right? Talking the talk, but you're actually walking the walk. You're taking the action step towards doing it, right? It doesn't matter what somebody thinks of you, says about you, or what anybody else is doing behind the scenes, whether they're losing more weight or lifting more heavier weights than you. You're confident in your own skills, you're confident in your own abilities just because you're literally keeping your own promises. So let's continue on. I love that one. That's why we had to stop and make a pause. Okay. Celebrating small wins. Okay. I see some of you guys on today's Zoom chat that you always make a post inside of the community group on Sundays, right? Celebrating those wins. Bill, even when you're up in weight, you're still celebrating as a win, right? But like, there's some of you guys on here that, hey, you're not doing that. Why not? You have nothing to lose, but everything to gain, especially if you want to be more confident. How hard is it to just celebrate your wins? You know? So it says in here, don't wait until you hit 175 or 20% body fat to feel successful. If you lose 2 pounds, if you say no to junk food, if you complete a workout on a day you felt unmotivated, celebrate those small wins. And Bill, I got to say, you've been doing that for years, man, inside the community. You do a great job at that. Even when you give me a little grumpy win, it's still a win.
Hey, man, I just keep it real. I keep it real.
Hey, yeah, you do, right? Keep promising yourself, man. Keep it real, right? Number 3, shift your focus to identity over outcomes. Let's read about this because I want to know more about this. It says, instead of saying, I want to lose weight, start affirming, I am disciplined, healthy man who takes care of his body. When you identify as someone who prioritizes your health, your actions align with your belief. Bill, we talked all about this on like the last 2 calls that we had from last week, the ones that you missed out on. It was all about what is this person that we're trying to become? How do we embody that person now? What are they saying? What are they thinking? Everything like that. I'll tell you what, guys, this is the cheat code to success in anything, not just your own health and fitness goals, but any kind of goal that you have. This is the cheat code to yourself. And all you have to do, right, is just stop and ask yourself, what would the X amount of version, best version of myself, 2.0 version, whatever it is, alter ego version of yourself with a fancy name, what would they do, think, and say in this moment right here? But here's the kicker. This is why it's so hard, because I can say this and somebody can be like, yeah, of course they're going to work out, right? You don't want to ask yourself, what would this person do when life is easy? When it feels good to motivate, right? And feels good to, work out. It's like, no, you want to ask yourself this question when life is tough, right? When life is challenging you. Because remember, if here's where we're trying to get, and here's where we're currently at right now, guys, right? This is an uphill, downhill, zigzags, all this stuff to get over here. It's not a straight line. So when life throws you those challenges, you need something to just remind you and help you get right back on homeostasis, right? Focus on what is the outcome. Who is this person? And once again, what can help you out dramatically is just by shifting your focus and just asking yourself. It's like, man, I don't feel like working out today. I feel like, smashing on some, beer and pizza. It's like, okay, hey, pause. What would the best version of myself do? Would they do this, or would they practice integrity? What would they actually do? And this is why, once again, guys, like, it's hard to just ask yourself this. You sometimes need a backup plan. And this is like that, like, loaded up gun, right? Is a deep rooted why. Brendan, he's not on today's call. He sent me over his why. And I encourage you guys, send me over your why. because I'll put it on your programs tab so I can see it, so I can remind you guys about it during your weekly check-ins. His why is so deep. It's not that BS why that he shared inside the Spartans group because I called him out on it, right? Like when he actually sent me a private message, dude, it was deep, like all the way peeling back the core, which I was like, bro, thank you. Like, honestly, for sharing that. Like, I didn't realize you trusted me so much to be sharing all those details. But guess what? I told him exactly the same thing. Make a video of yourself saying exactly this and remind yourself of it every single time life throws you curveballs. I promise you, I promise you, I promise you guys, if you just do that, you will overcome any kind of temptation, overcome on emotional hurdles, cravings, anything like that by just doing that one simple exercise. Okay. Number 4, Bill, can you say this one nice and loud?
Surround yourself with the right people.
Amen. Right? I don't even need to talk about this, right? We talk about this almost on every single call, guys. If you spend time with the right people who don't value their health, it's easy to fall in bad habits. Les Brown said it best: birds of a feather flock together. Surround yourself in life with losers, you're gonna become a loser, right? Um, think about Santa, for example. I used him one time on a coaching call where it's like Santa was just learning how to, becoming a business owner to have his own ice cream shop, okay? And the fastest way for Santa to be successful, right, is like, what if he just surrounded himself with a bunch of other like business owners that also had thriving businesses when it comes to ice cream making? Like, these are one of the things that sometimes we just need to do. And it's hard to do because half the time when it comes to doing this, it's one word that as guys, we hate hearing it, and that's invest, because half the time we got to invest financially to be in a group, right, with these people or to be around these people or whatever the case may be. I just made a $3,000 investment just to literally be in the same room with some guys, all talking about their mindset, But I'm like, hey, I don't want to continue to do this all by myself. I would rather invest in myself, be surrounded around these people. So if I do have questions, I could ask. I could also getting somebody to see different blind spots that I'm not seeing, right? So maybe it's like I'm just doing this, but somebody else that's more advanced with me with their mindset, they can see my loopholes. They can see what I'm doing wrong. They can actually challenge me also to upgrade and level up faster. So this recipe for success, especially when it's building more confidence, okay? Reframe setbacks as learning opportunities. Um, I talk about this often, right? So it's like you can look at me not making it to the Marine Corps as like a huge setback, and it was, especially at the time. But it's once again, it all worked out in God's, perfect timing. It all works out in God's plan. I don't use that as man, I failed at this, or I don't paint that picture of negativity. It's just like, hey, God had other plans for me, right? With me at 22 years old, almost committing suicide, right? Once again, I don't look at that as, oh man, like whatever the case may be. I looked at it as I was emotionally and mentally weak. I ripped off the band-aid. I faced my inner demons. Now it's like, okay, how do we improve on that, right? Improve on that day by day. So, Bill, and you don't need to share this, but like as I'm reading off this list, right, especially for number 5, is there anything that you can look back upon? Maybe it's on your own personal journey or your own health and fitness journey, as maybe there were some setbacks, but now you can use them as like learning opportunities to improve and grow upon.
Well, yeah, we all fail. I mean,
Yeah.
I
And
got a
did,
lifetime of failures.
and look what it says right here, right?
Yeah.
Confidence doesn't mean never failing. It means knowing that when you fail, you learn, right? And you come back stronger. Santa, who we were just talking about, even said, fail stands for first act in learning. Okay. If you slip up on your diet or miss a workout, don't beat yourself up. Ask, what can I learn from this and move forward? It's a key word, because when we start playing into this guilt mode or shame mode because we missed a workout or fell off track, once again we then isolate ourselves away from the community group, away from the program, and we just dig that hole more and more and more and more, and makes it just harder and harder for us to get back on track. Visualize your success. Okay, so Bill, for you, this is a personal question. Okay, let's just say you were able to reach that goal, right? 175, 20% body fat. And sure, it might be seeing the number on the scale. Maybe it might be the body fat percentage. But like, what can you use from this visualizing success as like an emotional trigger for you? Because that's what's going to amplify your success way faster than just mentally seeing the number on the scale or mentally seeing the body fat percentage. It's an emotion to it. So maybe that's like for example, right, Jeff G. He mentioned that he has that calf shirt that he wants to fit into. That's right there in his office. He sees it every single day. He knows the feeling of what it's going to be like when he puts it on and it fits all good and, nice on him. Do you have something that, resonates with you when it comes to visualizing?
No, I do not.
Okay, so your homework assignment, right, from today's call, at least for right now, find that, right? So, like, another thing too, I mentioned this to Jeff G, and I even talked about you in it. I was like, hey, Jeff G, have you ever been to what's the Brazilian steakhouse? Texas,
Braza?
no, Texas de Brazil. And I was like, hey, GFG, like, what if you got to his goals was 190? I was like, what if you got to 190 and me and Bill took you out to Texas de Brazil and we just celebrated, right? Because sometimes with like the visualization, right, we want to get all our senses involved. The more senses we get involved, the better. So he's like, oh man, yeah. He's like, me and you, we were there, smashed out some steaks with Bill, right, having a good time. Like, it's an impicturement. But if you think about it, it's a celebration dinner. It's like, hey, you achieved this big goal. Bravo. We're taking you out for dinner. So for you, it might be with you and Nancy. Maybe you guys are going somewhere. Maybe it's like a special Bill Palooza day just to celebrate the fact that you were able to get down to 20% body fat. Or maybe it's something else, right? Like with me, like it's so many different mental scenes that I have. It's just like a deck of cards, right? When I'm meditating, when I'm visualizing, which one do I want to use for that moment right there that helped me just spark an emotion, you know? So your homework assignment is to kind of focus on that, okay? It's uh it's a good one when you get it down. Get comfortable with being uncomfortable. So Bill, I would say this is definitely a good one for you because we talk about this a lot, right? If you remember, I did your check-in 2 weeks ago and I said, hey, Bill, here's the truth, brother. I said, you want to get better success inside this coaching program? We got to start pushing ourselves more. And Bill, you're not somebody that you don't like to work out. So what was the homework assignment that I gave for you that I'm still waiting for?
To come up with the like 4 or 5 exercises that I really enjoy doing.
Yes, that we can build upon, you know? So guys, like when this says get comfortable with being uncomfortable, like don't think like Bill, I'll use you for example. Don't think all of a sudden you just have to sign up for a gym membership and start working out 5 days a week, right? Because you want to get, comfortable being uncomfortable. Guys, like that might work for somebody, but at the same time, that's not sustainable. You have to go off your lifestyle. You have to go off your schedule. So Bill's somebody that doesn't like to work out. Nothing wrong with that at all, right? But I'm sure like in this world, there's a few things that he likes to do when it comes to improving on exercises. What are the things that we enjoy doing? And guys, even if it's like 5 exercises, maybe like push-ups, squats, kettlebell swings, whatever the case may be, you can still, right, improve on that. For example, let's say push-ups, we'll just use squats and kettlebell swings, for example. Maybe the first week of those workouts, it's like 20 reps, 20 reps, 20 reps, right? With maybe a 10-second rest in between. Maybe the second week, right? There is no rest in between. Maybe the third week, maybe the rest is in between, but now it's 30 reps each, right? It's just improving, guys. It's those, once again, you're taking what you enjoy doing, but you're challenging yourself. That challenge effect that could be you stepping outside of your comfort zone. Okay. And then lastly, number 8, this is a good question to ask you, Bill, is developing a winner's mindset. It says, speak positively about yourself instead of this is hard or I'm capable of handling, hard things instead of I'm struggling. Say, I'm getting stronger every day. The way that you talk to yourself matters. I would add in here, the way that you talk to yourself matters the most. Confidence, right? Just like how everybody has the wristbands, right? Consistency is key. Confidence, right, helps you stay consistent, right? Confidence helps you stay more disciplined. Confidence also helps you when it comes to just looking at life a little bit different, especially when life throws you the curveballs, the challenges, the storms, the adversities. You can look back and say, you know what, I got this. Like I don't need to know how I'm going to get this, but you can have confidence, right, and faith, knowing that you can overcome the storm that you're currently in. And the reality is, we're all going to be faced with storms from time to time. That's why I tell you guys, be involved inside the community group, right? Don't be a fly on the wall. So that way, when life does throw you challenges, you know that you're not at least doing this by yourself alone.